Hey, hi everyone. All right, let's turn this a little bit. And we are live. Hi, this is Gloria from Heart of the City, San Diego, and we are going live. I am here with my guest, Dinko Zambrano, and we're streaming from a stream platform called StreamYard. So we're going to give StreamYard a little bit of credit there. Thank you, StreamYard. But we're also going live on YouTube. We're on Facebook, and then we're going to be on all the audio platforms, and we'll send out all the links for you after the interview. But we have someone in the background sharing this all out, so we hope that this gets all shared out to you guys, so you guys can know where we are, where to find us. And so my guest here, which I am like totally excited to have all the way from Peru.
Yeah.
And so let me just give you a little backstory, okay? So a lot of you have known me for a long time, been following me around and stuff, all on, Heart of the City, San Diego, I'm in LA today. So, sorry, San Diego, but we are going global, okay? So I'm in LA, but you guys, a lot of you have followed me all around San Diego and interviewed a lot of business owners and ministry leaders and people like that. And some of my friends that are in the ministry as well, all over Praise Chapel and East Lake, the East Lake community and Rock Church, and all you guys, I love you. You are awesome. But today, I have a friend here, and we're from the same fellowship, Praise Chapel Christian Fellowship, and which is world known and things. But he was over in Peru doing some work there, an amazing work, and we're going to get to that. He's going to share his testimony on that. But Facebook has allowed us to make friends kind of globally, all over the place with so many different people, that it's exciting that when we finally get to meet in person, that, we could, that we're connected, we can glean on each other, we, get to share a gospel message and bring it to you guys here on this global platform. Isn't that crazy? I absolutely love it. I don't know about you guys, but I just this is amazing to me. So today, and a lot of you know that I've been a missionary. I was a missionary for 14 years. So I have a missionary's heart, and I love to get connected with other missionaries. Have a good friend in Poland and lots of people that I know in England and just all over Europe and Spain and, different places, Romania and stuff like that. So today's guest is Dinko Zambrano, and Dinko is kind of a revolutionary, not kind of, but is a revolutionary. And he has changed kind of the setting or the environment of where he is from. And he has this crazy, crazy testimony of he has this long profile thing.
And that is the version.
So Dinko, I want this to come from your mouth, because you have this wild, crazy, background here of a mother who got pregnant at 15 years old, and then there was a lot of alcohol and abuse involved in your background.
Yeah.
You were kind of like in the mafia type thing, dude. You were like a bouncer in the clubs. This guy, so kind of share with us a little bit of the beforehand and that kind of background, and then tell us and then bring us up to current in a little bit.
Sure. But first, I would like to start by saying a disclaimer that every person I mentioned in my testimony, my story of life, not like my dad, my stepfather, my mother, and many other people, in their moment they hurt me as a kid or whatever. Now I have very good relationship with them.
I like
Thank
that.
God I've been able to restore
Yeah.
had a relationship with my father. And my stepfather, even though he died, we were able to do that. So just in case, this is a testimony. It's not coming out of the heart that is wounded, resented. It's just part of my story of life, and I'm glad to share that with a healed heart.
Yes, I
So,
totally love that.
Yeah, as I mentioned, was born in a broken home. Whatever the shame of testimony I try to say, my life had all the ingredients for failure. All the ingredients for failure. Broken home. My father in that time, he was, he drank a lot. He was abusive. Then my mom, she was like just a teenager. She was 16 when I was born, and not mistaken, my dad was 17 years older. So 15 plus 32. It's like
Wow, it's a big difference.
yeah, it is, and yeah, that's how I grew up. I share also how when my mom ran away from him, and a couple of years later, she met this gentleman that ended up being kind of the same thing, and then for a period of time, she sent me to live with my grandparents. And I shared, I think I mentioned that also, only to find out that my grandfather, he was childless.
Yeah.
So all that year that I lived with him was hell.
Yeah.
And so all this resentment and all this anger and all this frustration as a little kid growing up was inside of me, and I had no way to express that because I was practically by myself. Everybody, like not everybody, right? Mom was busy trying to, put food on the table,
Yeah.
and that when I was growing up, when I was 14, 15, around that age, I got to go with these guys. I was 14 and this guy was 18, and he was like, "Hey, Dinko, come on, don't worry, just forget about you. Forget about your old man. Come on." And he was the first one. I remember how he gave it my first pot, and so that's how it all started.
Wow, that's crazy. So during this time, so you went back to how your mom got pregnant, and you had the alcohol abuse of grandfather and all these things in your background things. Tell us a little bit, what were the feelings that you were feeling in this moment? Because I want kind of the audience to understand, we get saved and you see us all goody two shoes and stuff now, but there were real true feelings involved, because I come from an abusive background too, quite the same, stuff in it. And my dad was a biker, and there was a lot of violence and convict and things like that. Now, I never did the drugs or any of that. I ran far away from as far as I can go from all that kind of thing. And I thank God that I had people who intervened in my life that were good, and I believe it was God. But there were true feelings. There were, feelings of hate and anger.
Sure. Not only hate and anger and the desire of vengeance, but also a huge amount of suffocating sensation of fear.
Yeah.
I was a very fearful little boy. I wasn't one. I was bullied at school. Elementary school. Everyone would take my lunch money or whatever. I brought cookies or whatever I took. So they would take my color pencils, and it was every single day and a half. It came to a point that I didn't want to go out on break, between classes. You have time to go on the yard. I just want to stay in the classroom. I was so afraid I didn't want to go out.
Yeah.
So, and at the beginning it was fear.
Yeah.
And I believe if there's someone listening to this, they will relate to what I'm sharing. Because that fear, when it's not addressed, it will take you one of two directions, depending on your personality. It will take you to depression. That will take you to maybe even try to kill, take your own life. Or it will take you to violence.
Yeah.
You become very violent. That's the second option was my case. I became violent. So that fear when I was 14, 15, that was the first time I went on the fist to fist with my stepfather.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I saw how he pushed away my mom. Like, I don't know what was happening. One of these, scenes at home, like it was so common, but he was just, and I jumped, and I went on him. It was bad. It was bad. So, but then I discovered something. There was something I could have control on, and that was my anger, and that's very dangerous. So yeah, those are the feelings I was dealing with in those days.
Like the sensation of release, huh?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that valve. You open that valve,
Another kind of addictive behavior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of that, and you shared the feelings of this kind of you found a sense of control through anger and things like that, and so now you're becoming a little bit older, and you're in this other place in life, and you start to meet these other more dangerous people.
Oh yeah. That's funny because they changed me. They moved me from this private school to a public school.
Yeah.
And so in that public school, I was the little rich boy in this, so with these, let's say, poor people. They weren't poor, but they thought, oh, this guy's coming from this Catholic private school, so everybody was bullying at me because of that.
Yeah.
But it came to a point that I couldn't take it no more. I remember I was telling you, I was so afraid. I would literally shake, and I remember clearly, like it was yesterday. I was buying something on this cafeteria, and I was about to grab my sandwich or something, and I saw this hand coming over, my shoulder. This is mine, like always, like every day. But that moment for me, that was just okay. This is enough. So I just turned around, saw the guy. I don't even ask him. I don't even say something. I just, and so I was 15, and this guy was 19. There was public school. There were guys that they were over 20 even. So that resulted in a very bad beating. I received, they kicked me at the ground and they punched me, kicked me. I mean, when I got home that day, it was all beaten up, blood here, everywhere, and bruises and everywhere. So, but then I decided next day, when I went to school, I took a knife with me, a switchblade, and I decided to face them. So I just, I'm going to do something. And when they came again, to take whatever they could from me, because I was a rich boy, I pulled out this knife, and that was, I didn't know how to handle that. I just, like, and so they look at me and go, look at him, man, look, this guy. And so I don't know how they did it. It was so fast that he took the knife from my hands. But then they went they go, come. We're going to teach you. If you want to be with us, we're going to teach you how to do this. And so that's how I became part of the gang. And that was the first time in my life, 14 years old. Sorry, it was 14 years old. First time in my life that I felt that I belonged.
Wow.
That they became kind of a family for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in this time, there was kind of like no parental figure, because everybody was.
Yeah, no. My stepfather, he was very strict. Like, he was a former captain of the army, and he was a physician.
Yeah.
So very well instructed guy, a lot of knowledge and stuff. And he was totally like a drill instructor.
Oh, okay.
No one can that. Because I understand, parents, they need to correct, but you also give love, reassurance, and he never did that with me. And so then I found out that with this gang, you can do it. You being this little guy that you try to find us, okay, that's good. That was the first time I did something like that. Approval. Yeah.
Approval. That's the key word right there. Wow. Yep. Approval. So a lot of you that are listening right now, you're kind of maybe you can relate to the story. Maybe you can see yourself in kind of, you know, these different scenarios in life. You know, I have kind of some similarities to that as well. I've grown up in school, and you know, the feeling of fear, and you know,
And whichever everyone at school, they feel that.
Yeah.
It's the difference how they address it.
How do they address it? Yeah.
And what kind of you know, support they find at home.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't have it, you're gonna find it somewhere else outside.
Yeah. Yeah. And in my case, it was, I had my dad. He taught me the ropes. So he was an extreme person. So there was that extreme where he was teaching me the ropes, and you know how to, you know, go back and face the bully and get your lunch money back from the bully kind of thing, and you know, don't back down and that. But I knew that he would back me up. So I knew that he was always there. I knew he was always available. I knew that, you know, he was.
Even in case he will be there.
Yeah. I knew that part. So that was, I had kind of was able to face my fears and kind of in that way. And then I had intervention after that, so I didn't get to do too much bad things. But then you kind of moved. You went from being in, is it Peru that you started off in?
Yeah, Peru.
And then you went to Brazil after?
Yeah. Well, before that, I went to the military for a couple of years. You know, my family, because I became the black sheep.
Oh, I see.
I would steal things, you know, something from my jewelry, from my mom. And I think whatever it could fit on my backpack, it was fit.
Oh, no.
And then I started selling like pills and little things with marijuana and stuff. So, you know, little things, you know, to get some money.
Right.
And with these friends, you know, we would go on city buses. Back in the day, that was even easier, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll go, if there was a lady sitting there, poor lady, you know, I would go like, hey, someone from Jane. And then she will look at me like, you know, and if she made a mistake of opening her purse, okay, I will wait for her to give me some coins. I just, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was crazy. And so, but after that, I went to the military, and then I didn't last there too long. They kicked me out. I was too crazy. And so my family that thought that I finally Dinko finally, you know, this finally found something, you know, useful to do in the military. They kicked me out. And so I didn't want to go back to any of my family. You know, I just want to, you know, move on. And so I decided to go. I don't know where. Just Brazil. Okay, Brazil. I went to Brazil. Yeah. With some money that I managed to get, you know, and mom is always mom. So I called my mom, you know, there's this business, white thing. You know, I just need this so much money, which was a lie. Just took that money and some more money somewhere in Brazil. Wow. And in Brazil, I started again, you know, doing some bad things, with bad people. I lived for a few months in a favela, you know, these very poor areas where the little houses are put together. Oh, and then, what would be the English word for that? English word for that? No, it's not.
Oh, like the projects?
No, the project is like
like flats. Like flats.
Yeah, just very poor little houses. They don't even have running water or bathrooms inside. No toilets. There was just one or couple holes in the ground. We would do our business there. Yeah. And so the federal police was after me. So I literally ran from Brazil. You know, sometimes I think people don't believe me when I share this, but I went through the jungle of Brazil and Peru 32 days. Oh my gosh. Running away from them. I didn't want to get out of jail. I knew there were people inside that would kill me if they put me inside. Oh. And they locked me in. So by the time I got to my city in Peru, because it was the jungle from Brazil, jungle from Peru, and then the mountains, and then the coastline, which is my city. You know, I was with this long beard, skinny, with worms in my flesh. It was so bad, so painful.
So like, let me understand this though, but like, this is crazy. So you went from being this little scared cat kid.
I know. If we could go back in time and see the Dinko, the 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old Dinko, you wouldn't believe what the 18-year-old Dinko would be doing.
Yeah, but like, where's your mind at when you're going through the living in the jungle? I feel like so like scared of some.
I know, but there was. I think that's what I think I mentioned at the beginning. It depends. Yeah, I think we all are born with a specific personality.
Yeah.
All that life does is add to that.
Yes.
You know, because there are people, some by nature, we say by nature, but there are people that by nature they are like crying, and they can go into depressive mode like this. If you look at them, and there are people that are more like aggressive.
Yeah.
So the same circumstance can happen to these two kind of people, but they will react different. One will go into depression or even thinking about suicide, and the other will go into rage, destruction, and vengeance, and that was the second. I didn't know at the beginning, but as I told you, when I tasted that when I had the taste of, okay, I can do something, I can punch, that changed me.
Yeah.
That changed me. So and I went through the jungle 30 plus days. I said 32 because that's what I think it was, but I know it was 30 plus days, and it was a horrific experience, surviving, eating every 2 days somehow, because I didn't know what to eat. Only if I saw bananas, and then okay, this is a banana. Then the rest, I don't know, maybe it's other fruits I could. And with the Indian tribes I met, because I had my backpack, it was a huge backpack, a machete, a knife, and I try to sleep at night. We clean it up and setting up little fires around. So spiders and snakes and it's not crocodile in the Amazon. There's not crocodile. What's the name in English? Lagarto. We say lagarto in Spanish, but I don't remember the word in English. It's not crocodile. Crocodile's in Africa. Yeah, like the South American version of the crocodile. I don't remember the word. Alligator. The kind of alligator there. And so I met an alligator, and I ate snakes, I ate monkey, and so crazy. But I needed to survive.
Yeah.
And and I managed to get to my city. I remember was my last pair of pants that I traded with a driver of this bus driver. Was going from Lima to Trujillo, my city. I didn't have any money, so I go to the guy and say, "Hey, you know what?" And I pulled this pair of pants and say, "Hey, what do you think?" He goes, "Okay, come in." So he dropped me at the entrance of the city, and I walked for like 30, 40 minutes or more, I remember, to my parents' house, only to find out that they were in a fight again. My mom was not there, and so the same story. And that's how I got healed. I went to the hospital, got healed with all these little insects and worms in my flesh. And from there I went to Ecuador, and from Ecuador to Colombia, which I share also. Resume.
That's your resume. Yeah. That's a big mouthful right there. I need to process that for a minute. Like, I'm like, man, you went from this little kid being scared to now this older, young adult guy who's in the jungle surviving, and just like in pure survival mode, eating from the jungle and selling things, trading and
with the Indian tribes.
Wow.
Yeah, I was afraid that they will, I hope they're not violent,
Yeah, Yeah, and then that too. Like,
Yeah.
how do you even know? You come
Yeah.
across these, natives, and you're just like, you don't even know what to expect. If
Yeah.
they're going to eat you or not.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Wow, that's just crazy. That's just like, that's a big story right there. Like, I mean, did you feel like God was in it? Did you feel God at any moment in any of that time?
no. Uh, when I was little, growing up and going to this Catholic private school, yeah, we were by part of the curriculum. We needed to go to the church, but I never really connected. My grandmother, she was really, really like strong Catholic, and my mom, and my stepfather, he was an atheist,
Okay.
so I didn't believe in God. That was put in here.
Yeah.
And honestly, seeing the reality of my family, I thought, what God,
Yeah.
if there is a God, why is my family the way it is? So I didn't believe God. I presented my letter to the school board saying, I'm not going to take the religion course.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that because I don't believe God. And yeah. So I never really like asked, oh God, please, no, never.
Yeah.
It wasn't even in my like slightest idea.
Really?
All I was like, I would care about was to be my machete be like what's the thing again? Sharpen, yeah, and then be aware of my surroundings, and that's it. So
That's it. You just pull all
yeah.
survival all on your own. Gosh. So now you're kind of like in this place where you're like, you've come out of the jungle, you've traded your pants.
The last pair,
The last pair.
of
So
pants.
now what? Now what? Like,
I got home and I saw my parents, my stepfather, my mom. They were five, and he opened the door. I remember that clearly. I was gone over a year, more than a year. I was in Brazil, and he opens the door and he looks at me and he goes, "What?" And then, well, where's my mom? She's not here. So I thought, no, where she's going to be? In my aunt's place. So I went to my aunt's and I found her there, drunk, totally drunk, her and my aunt. And I said, oh, this is the same crowd. So the next day, she took me to the hospital. They healed me, took all the worms in my place and stuff. So, yeah. But after, I think it was 2 months, after 2 months, I took off. I did a robbery in my city with another accomplice.
mm-hmm.
And with that money, we went to Ecuador, and from Ecuador to Colombia.
Wow.
So I was there for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall exactly, like the date. I don't have that memory. It was about a couple of months, and then I left.
Wow. So I'm just like stunned. Like, what would I ask next? Oh, okay. So now you're back home and you've got all the worms removed from eating you alive, basically.
Yeah. That part in the jungle, that was very beautiful experience for me because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what happened. I just felt like the sting. I
Oh,
was stung by something. Like, and I was like, oh man, And then and I checked and I found pieces of an insect because I went like this. So I thought that was it. But a couple of hours later, I started losing my sight in the middle of the jungle.
oh,
So I could, like everything was becoming like foggy. And I was so afraid. And I knew because I'd been in the military by that time. I was in the military, so I was trained in survival things and stuff.
Mhm.
So I went to the river shore and started watering myself constantly to lower it because my fever was so high. I was trembling like fever.
oh my
So I would just, pour water on me, water. And I grab a T-shirt and I wear it in the river and put it in my head. And I was losing my sight more and more and more. I was so afraid because then I knew I would do that.
Yes.
And so, little by little, now I know that was God. little by little, I started covering my sight. I started see clearer and clearer and clearer, and I was like, okay, but the rest of the journey through the jungle, I limped from this leg. It was so painful. Some maybe a nerve, something. I didn't know. When I crossed the Peruvian frontier, few miles after I crossed few miles inside the Peruvian frontier, I met a group of soldiers,
Yeah.
and they had this little like place, a very poor settlement of soldiers there, Peruvian soldiers from the Peruvian army, and they detained me first, and then they checked it. I was with this beard. That's so crazy. Can you imagine these soldiers there, and they saw this guy coming up from the middle of the yeah, like, hey, yeah, stop. And there was this guy that he took care of the cows they have because they use cows to have milk, so he took two of the worms from my threshold from the back, and he gave me this kind of capsules with a powder that he put in the cows when they removed it. Those little insects that they suck your blood, or what's the word in English?
Ticks.
Ticks, okay. And they pour that powder so the wound won't get infected.
Oh, I see.
So that's what he gave me, and with that I continue my journey through the jungle.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the worms when we moved into here. We were there.
Wow, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So you did that, and so where was it that you kind of came to the knowledge of Jesus? How did you come to that?
After I left Peru with this partner, with this accomplice, and he told me he knew people in Colombia. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, we need to, So we got this money out of this job, and when we got to Colombia, it turned out that he knew people there. I thought he was just bluffing, but he knew people there. So he knew some, drug dealers and drug lords, but he was the kind of guy that will get drunk in the weekend. I didn't do that. I never was like, a guy that was somewhere on the street all dirty and drunk and pass out drugs. No, never.
Yeah.
Never. I was disciplined, and that in parts thanks to my stepfather. So he taught me how to handle guns since I was 12.
Okay.
So plus my military training. So I ended up being one of the bodyguards for this drug lord, this drug cartel in Colombia, and that was a very violent time in my life. And I got in trouble again. Trouble. That was my middle name, Citizen Solomon Olson from Resurrection. I don't know if you heard it.
No.
And so that was my middle name too. Wherever I went, and a few months later, I would get in trouble to flee. So I messed with the wrong woman. I was in prison. I didn't know this girl was one of my boss's mistress. Exactly. I didn't know. I wasn't that stupid, I didn't know. So the thing is, that was a death sentence for sure.
Yeah.
So that's so many details in between. I don't know if we have time to share all that, but yeah, I also, because they took me to the desert in Colombia. Yeah, I was sleeping. We had a house. All the security team. We had a house where we could go and rest before the next day if we had a job to do. I was resting there in a hammock, and then suddenly I felt someone put a back on my head, punch my throat, punch my arms, and they lifted me up like a package, put me inside a car, and they drove. And I don't know if you know this, but whenever someone takes you like that and don't talk to you, it's because they're going to kill you. If they either start talking to you like they they use cuss words and they you so and so you have and whatever they say is because they want to break you and get information out of you. But if they say nothing, you're done. So they were really quiet. I didn't know who they were, and they drove and they finally, they took me out of the car. And there was these two cars, and I could, feel the sand. And when they moved this the back, I saw that was the security team, the people I work with. And then so they told me what happened. I didn't know. It doesn't matter. It's too late. So they hit me with their guns. And so it's very gross maybe to share this, but the sentence, the way they kill you when you mess with the wrong woman, especially if it's the girl, one of the bosses, is they rape you first.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, they rape you, all the men in the team, they rape you, and then they okay, this is a testimony. They cut your genitalia, put it in your mouth, and they suffocate you with that. And so whenever let's say you're walking down an alley and you saw this guy, with the thing here, okay, he messed up with you. And that's how they send a message. Don't you dare, Anyway, as you can see, they didn't do that. I understand that was God in that moment. Suddenly they stopped hitting me, and the chief was like, you know what? He looked at me and said, you know what? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out. So I stood up, all bleeding, and and I started walking backwards, looking at them. And they got into their cars and left. So they thought they left me in the desert to die. I managed to get back to the little town that was controlled by this drug lord. And there I found out that it was a cargo ship in a little port they have. And I managed to get into the cargo ship, and that cargo ship took to Aruba, the Caribbean island, the Dutch Caribbean island. And so in Aruba, I started doing the same things, smuggling, dealing with drugs, and moving alcohol and tobacco from Miami to Venezuela. Money. And I thought like, okay, now I'm doing it. It's going to be good. So one day this police officer stopped me, and I didn't have papers, and he knew I was doing something. But instead of handcuff me, he pulled out a Bible.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and witnessed to me. And the beginning, I just knocked because I just wanted to to fake that I was interested. Really, but I didn't believe in God at all. When I was in Colombia working for this cartel, whatever, whenever we had a job, something to do, I always see the other guys like taking their crosses or their little rosaries, on their necks, or the little religious figure they had inside the cross, Virgencita, protect me. And I will kiss my gun. Take my gun, my little beretta, and I will kiss. Hey, I call it mi negrita, a little black, the little negrita, protect me. And they will get mad at me. Say, hey, you don't know that with the guy up there. What? There's nothing up there. What? I will go like that.
Yeah.
But then this police officer talked to me, and it was supernatural because I wanted to leave, but there was this pressure in my chest, so painful, Gloria, so painful. Like I couldn't breathe. And he goes, "What's wrong?" I don't know. This pain here. And then he goes, "That's Jesus Christ that wants to come into your heart. Why do you give him a chance?" I look at this guy, the police officer, and I thought, man, he smoked something because that's Jesus Christ with this pain in my chest. I was so foreign to the idea of church or God or whatever. I was so crazy, from what I heard from him.
Yeah.
But I couldn't take it anymore. I started crying, weeping like a baby.
Oh my God.
That very, very disgusting picture, you crying, as all these lines. And crying, crying, crying. So he grabbed me, sent me somewhere, I don't remember where, and he asked me, "You want to pray?" I just nod, and I repeat that prayer. So basically, that's it. And here I am, transformed like this from night to light.
Wow, that's crazy.
Never again went to like wanted to use drugs or not even a cigarette nor a drink. Nothing, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why there is hope.
Yes,
There is hope. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. That's just a crazy, crazy story. Oh my gosh. I'm like, take it back. Like, I have to process that. I have to eliminate the visual that you gave us earlier.
That's hard.
Okay. So yeah, man, that was like, that's a true, like, that's a true, like, God moment. Like, that's
It was.
totally supernatural. There's
Totally
no,
supernatural.
like, it
There was
can't
not an
be, like,
event, a big Christian event. There was, I mean, because I would never go to a church.
Yeah.
So, and totally unexpected.
Mhm.
This guy, instead of really, like applying his authority, put me in jail. People are,
Wow, that's just, wow,
yeah.
wow. Like, I don't even know where to go from there. It's like, that's just like, so you just had this crazy supernatural situation happen to you. Like, guys, I know that there's other people out there that maybe not exactly like Dinko's, but I know you had some kind of supernatural
Yeah.
situation happen to you where you felt like you knew without a shadow of doubt that was God.
Yeah.
For many of us, for me, it was just, it was nothing like that. It was, but you have come a long, long way, Dinko. Like, that's incredible. The story, the journey, the trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you stay sane in something like that, right? Like, I mean, and you're sitting here
Yeah.
and you're sane. You're not mentally ill. You
No.
didn't have.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely is God.
Yeah.
But what I say is that many times we bring a lot of extra drama in our own drama.
Yeah.
And so we say we get trapped in this victim mode.
Yeah.
Look at what they did to me, and my mom, my dad, or my stepdad, or my grandfather. I could, that was my story.
Yeah.
And I would hate him. I planned how to kill him, and all these things. It's like all this rage and all this stuff. So, but somehow I understood that life functions better, or
Yeah.
rewards. I don't know. I would say functions better when you learn how to be, in a way, practical.
Mm-hmm.
What happened happened. You cannot go back and undo what happened to you, or even what you did to somebody else.
Right.
Okay, so I understood that, and somehow, even before getting sepsis, okay, I have to move on. I got in trouble at home. I got in trouble in Peru. I got in trouble in the military. I got in trouble in Brazil. Okay, you know what? I got to move on. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
And thanks God, in that journey I met God.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Praise God for that. So that part right there, I want to kind of elaborate on that because for some people listening, there's a lot of people that are listening that follow me on my platform. A lot of people have been through divorces and things. I went through a divorce, and there's just lots of things that people want to be stuck in, and they want to stay in the look what they did, look what you did to me kind of mentality, and it's not going to help.
No,
stay stuck there, right?
Yeah, because they think they don't have control over anything else.
Yeah.
So the only thing they believe they can control is their pain and their anger.
Yeah.
So this is mine. So I'm not letting this go.
Yeah.
Because when I remember, even at least through pain, I feel like control something, or I feel I'm alive. audience. It's one of the bravest things a human being can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And we thank God because we've been, our sins. Jesus already paid the debt for all of that. There's no,
Yeah.
we can't repay it.
Yeah.
So we just have to accept that it's already been done. It's
Yes.
already done, and all we get to do is just. He wants us to enjoy it's already done moment, right?
Yeah.
Enjoy that, and ride on that, and believe that for all of us, right? And so you have a beautiful wife, and you have
Yes.
beautiful children, and they're also talented.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's another story because my wife now, she's not the mother of my daughters.
Yeah.
And when I started pastoring his wife, first wife, we started together, the first ministry back in 1996. I've been pastoring for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And but somehow, when I was in the hospital, underwent a surgery and hernia, I was working on something very heavy. I did not have this thing that was working for low something.
Yeah.
And so they took me on some emergency, and then that was the moment she took advantage of and left home. I didn't see it coming. And we were not like, separated or, we didn't, I wouldn't say that our relationship grew cold. We were fine.
Yeah.
She went to see me after the surgery. Honey, how you doing? I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry. I'm going to bring you clean clothes because I was working. So she took my clothes and she was supposed to bring new clothes for the next day. The next day I was being released from the hospital.
Yeah.
That night she left.
Mm.
And and from there I lost everything, the ministry I had, the fellowship I had. And I was left like a single parent with my 3 little kids, my twins that were 5.
Oh, gosh.
And she, the one here, she was 2.5.
Oh,
And so, yeah, and I stood up again, I stood back up, whatever you say it.
yeah.
And here I am with this wonderful, powerful ministry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. You made a comeback.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. So now you're going to be living here in LA, and you're going to
Yes.
start. You've already started to develop a ministry.
Yeah.
Much like the one that you have in Peru.
In Peru. Yeah.
Wow. So tell us about that. Tell us a little bit about the ministry now.
Yeah.
Where people can find you, and people that are living here in LA and things like that, and
Sure.
how they can get involved. And I don't know.
Before, when I said I was part of a fellowship that was very good in discipleship, very good, I believe, in discipleship.
Yeah.
And the training of the character, that's discipleship.
Mm-hmm.
But they were a little, I would say, not little, legalistic in some things. And when this thing happened with his wife, stuff, I ended up leaving that fellowship. I was by myself, actually. They took everything from me. And so it took me years to realize, to understand the vision that God has put in me for this ministry revolution. So what I understand now as a church, it needs to be more than just, in the traditional sense, more than just a church.
Yeah.
It needs to be a place where, people, and I love working with young people, with youth, or young adults also, where they can find a place of expression and on the foundation of Jesus Christ, of course, a place where they can develop their God-given gifts. And so that's why my church in Peru, Revolution, so over 200 people, and 90% of them are millennials and younger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of, you see the picture there, on the screen. So it's like, they're on fire for God. That's why, maybe 2 years ago, back in 2018, God started dealing with me coming here.
Mhm.
It took me a while to realize that until I really, I could say, okay, this is God. And so this last year, by the end of last year, I decided to move on. Say, okay, God, here I am. I said, here I am. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of different, places in your life where you had to, let go and trust God.
Yeah.
That He's in control of whatever the ministry is. And that's a hard for some men to do. That's a difficult decision to make.
It is. Yeah.
Because sometimes we get our identity lies in that, right? And developing that ministry where it is, and now you got to uproot, come to another place, and then start all over again.
So,
And it may be different.
Yeah.
It may even look different. But you have to kind of figure that out as you go along and go with the flow with that. And that's a whole new kind of learning, and
the culture and
culture.
The way people relate to each other, and it's just the language.
Yeah.
And it's different. It's different. So, but that's the truth. I like this sensation, this feeling, this thrill. Oh man, I want to see what God's going to do. For me, that's the way I define faith. Faith is saying, okay, God, I'm standing in this and this. What's when you where you jump to the pool, that little
the thing, the diving board.
Diving board. So faith for me is like I'm standing in this diving board.
Yeah.
And God tells me jump, and I jump while the pool is empty.
Yeah.
Trusting that God will fill it up.
Yeah.
That's for me faith. That's faith for me.
Totally. Yeah.
And so far, 28 years serving the Lord, He's been faithful.
Yeah.
Every time. I can't wait for the right circumstances.
Yeah.
I just move, and God moves the circumstances.
Yeah. So your identity, you what I'm sensing from you, feeling from you, tell me if I'm right or wrong, I don't know. But what I'm sensing is that your identity is not in the name of that ministry.
No.
Your identity
is in God, in the calling of God. In the moment I stop answering the call of God, I lose my identity.
Yeah.
And with all due respect, I have many, many, many pastors I know through the years in the different countries, different continents.
Yeah.
Sadly, many pastors they relate their identity to their ministry.
Yes.
And if that ministry is gone, they disappear.
Yeah.
That's why for me it's so powerful to be able to learn to let go.
Yeah.
When I was deciding, I talked to different pastors before making the move to come to the States to work.
Yeah.
Some of them they say, Dinko, what's going to happen? You leave that church, that ministry in Peru.
Yeah.
What if? All the what ifs, the what if. Okay, so no, at the end that never was. That was mine. That was never mine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was never mine. And it didn't belong to me.
Yeah.
I was just someone that was in charge of leading. And I relate now to my ministry in Peru. I oversee. They call me. They consult with me in some sensitive decisions. But that's not my identity. People can say, "Oh, Dinko Zambrano, the pastor of Revolution in Peru." Yeah. But I'm here now.
Yeah.
So that's my identity.
Yeah.
That's called.
Yes, that's where it's at right there. That's what I like. That right there. Yep. That's what I know because I've been there. I've been in a ministry, and I know what it feels like to wonder what your identity is, and then to find that that is not your identity. Your identity is in Jesus.
Right.
And no matter where you are, that you're just the vessel.
Yeah.
You're just there being available to be used.
Yes.
And if it looks like that, it looks like that. If it looks like coming back to California, it looks like coming back to California. But no matter what it is, we get to go along for the ride.
Yeah.
And, you know, for some personalities, that's a really cool ride. That's an awesome, you know, roller coaster ride.
Roller coaster. It's a roller coaster.
Like at Magic Mountain. You know, for others, that's not okay. Like they don't have that. It's not in them to do that. You know, but everyone's different. So, Dinko Zambrano. Wow, that's crazy. Anything that you want to say before we close out?
Believe in God. Dare to believe in God. If you haven't, like, you know, given your life to Jesus, this is not religion. It doesn't have to. It's not related to what church you're going. It's the, you know, it's relationship. It's not religion. And if you happen to be in that spot in life where you say, you know, there is no hope, this is so difficult, I wish my circumstances were different, or I don't know where the camera is, this side or that side, this side, I think.
I don't know.
I'm looking at the screen, so anyway, I just wanted you to know that I'm looking at you and I want to say, just, you know, believe in God, give him a chance. You might live the rest of your life in awe when you see what he can do through someone that decides to believe.
Yes.
So just do it. Don't be afraid. And there is hope. If you were connected with us since the beginning, you know, my life had all the ingredients for failure. But now I'm a vessel of honor in his hands. So yeah, that will be it.
Amen. Amen. So with that said, guys, Dinko Zambrano. Dinko Zambrano. But you can find him, follow him on his Facebook link down there, and
Instagram, and YouTube.
Exactly, and TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah, we got to have a TikTok, you know. So bye, guys. Thank you for being here. I see you guys. I see lots of you guys coming. I see. Wow, look at that. Awesome. All right, bye, guys.